Officer Day, would you open a courtroom for us?
The State of Michigan 36th District Court is now in session with the Honorable Judge David S. Robinson Jr. presiding. Court is now in session. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
We are on the record calling 22-188-352 Mission Point of Detroit LLC versus Shirley Staples. Date and time for our sixth pretrial. Your appearances.
Sarah Fazio on behalf of the plaintiff, Mission Point of Detroit, Your Honor.
You remember the State Bar of Michigan, Ms. Fazio?
Yes, I am, Your Honor. P62046.
Counsel.
Nick Balberman on behalf of the defendant, P35262, Your Honor.
Where are we on this thing? Is the probate work done or not? I mean, this is about six pretrials old.
Sure. So I went to probate court. I filed all the petitions. We had a hearing before Judge Perkins. Judge Perkins found that the ward was incompetent, and because there were no assets in the estate that could be discovered, Judge Perkins appointed a public administrator, Attorney Jim McCann, I believe former judge of Livonia, to act in this case. And Mr. McCann contacted me a few weeks ago and said that because there were no assets in the estate, he had the discretion as being a public administrator to decline the appointment because there was no way for him, to get paid. Now, just by way of background, Your Honor, I do have two possible solutions that I'd like to suggest to the court to try to get this thing done, because I know everybody is frustrated. One is, the court will recall that there was a power of attorney in this case for a Mr. Paul Hammond, who lives in Georgia, I believe, and is a relative of the defendant, Shirley Staples. Mr. Hammond said he would act as conservator, which would then involve me going back to probate court and getting him appointed, but I don't think that would be a problem. That's choice number one. The other thing, Your Honor, in reviewing the file, it occurred to me last night, understand that Shirley Staples is the defendant in the case. For some reason, when the case was filed, Mission Point, which is a nursing home, as I understand it, where Ms. Staples is presently incompetent, they didn't serve Shirley Staples. They apparently sent it to the power of attorney, knowing that she was incompetent. I mean, that's my guess, because he sent me the summons and a complaint from Georgia. So I think that the service in this case, if that is what happened, and I don't know that, but I mean, I don't know how they could have served her, but she was in that nursing home incompetent, I'm assuming. But if that is what happened, we really never had, I don't know why they served him, other than maybe they thought he was power of attorney and had authority to accept service. But if they thought that, that was a mistake, the same mistake I made, because he didn't have authority to act for litigation, which I would take that to mean that he didn't have authority to accept service for litigation. So again, I think that there's two possible, definite solutions here. If the court wants me to go back and get the power of attorney appointed, I'll do that. And I don't know that that would be very complicated. Or if the court, or if Ms. Fazio agrees with my argument that is what happened. And again, I don't know that's what happened, but I don't know what else it could have been, because I think they were dealing with this Paul Hammond financially. So they served him. Maybe they had a copy of the power of attorney and misread it the same way I did. But I don't know that. I'm just saying I don't know where service on the defendant, Shirley Staples, would have come up otherwise, unless she wasn't incompetent then, but she never contacted me.
Your Honor, I'll have to check the file for service. I didn't know this issue was gonna come up. Typically, what happens when I should back up. I don't have a copy of the power of attorney. I've asked for it multiple times. I've even sent a discovery request for it and haven't received it. But Mr. Hammond was communicating with my client on the basis that he was a durable power of attorney for healthcare. So in my complaint, I indicated that upon information and belief, because he also said he had a financial power of attorney, that he was her power of attorney. I believe we served both Miss Hammond and Paul Hammond just out of an abundance of caution. That's what we typically do. And if she's a patient in my client's facility, service on her wouldn't have been difficult.
Well, the problem that I have
Sure.
with Mr. Bowman's argument is, let us assume for purposes of our discussion that there was some defect in the service on the defendant. Fact of the matter is, I have an answer filed by an attorney on behalf of that defendant. So as a practical matter, that's going to eat up any defects we may have had in terms of service, not making a decision one way or the other, if in fact there were defects. So it seems to me that we need to continue moving forward here. I think, Mr. Balderman, the best thing, of course, in this situation is for you to have the person with the power of attorney appointed as conservator.
Okay,
Now, before I go any further here, Ms. Fazio, let me understand the factual scenario here. Shirley Staples is a present patient in your facility.
I can't verify that she's there right at this moment, Your Honor, but last I understood, she was still a patient there, yes.
And the claim that you're making is for unpaid services?
That's correct, Your Honor. She was in a Medicaid spend down and there was a divestment, I believe, and I think it may have involved Paul Hammond. And so she had some certain she had to pay out of pocket before she qualified for Medicaid. And that's what that $15,000 balance is from her private pay amount or her spend down amount that she was supposed to pay before she qualified for Medicaid. So she's now on Medicaid. Now she's not, the bill's not incurring or increasing anymore. But this is
It's a spend down provision.
correct.
What are we hearing from this Paul fellow? Was he the person who got hold of the $15,000 as part of the spend down?
Your Honor, it's been a while, so I don't want to put on the record anything that's inaccurate. I just know that they were working with him on the spend down, and DHHS was working with him. And they were excluded for that $15,000. There was a transfer, I believe, and I don't know if it was a personal property or real estate that disqualified her for that amount. So that's why she had that large provision she had to pay. I don't want to say, because I don't want to speak out of turn exactly what that transfer was, but that's what DHS determined was her spend down amount.
Okay, then here's what we need to do. Mr. Balderman, why don't we take course one?
okay,
You get this gentleman appointed as conservator.
okay,
Get the parties properly aligned in terms of the pleadings. And then we can find out from him what's going on here.
okay.
Because if we're not in a situation where we are incurring additional expense, then what we're arguing about is the spend down provision money. And it didn't evaporate. It went somewhere. Okay, I mean, it went somewhere. She had to make the spend down provision. She liquidated assets. The cash flow from that went somewhere. Maybe it's in somebody's sock, maybe it's in somebody's mattress, but it went somewhere. And that'll be an easy way, I think, to get the matter resolved. So let's do this. Let's give you guys a 7th pretrial. Congratulations on being rapidly becoming the oldest case on my docket.
Oh, no.
Our next date, folks, will be February 23rd, at 10 o'clock. Does that work for everybody?
Yes,
Your
sir.
Honor.
Okay, then what we'll do is we'll adjourn the pretrial to February 23rd. Hopefully by that time, we'll at least get started, Mr. Balderman, if not completed, on that appointment of the conservator, and we'll figure out what's going on from there.
Okay.
Anything else we cannot accomplish today?
Not for us, Your Honor.
Okay, we're gonna let Ms. Fazio go because I have another one with Mr. Balderman.
Thank you.
February 23rd at 10 o'clock.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Just be safe out there.
Yeah, you too.
It's a settled case. It's probably all and done. We don't even have to appear.
Your Honor, if the case that you're thinking about is Tubbs, it's settled.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And we signed it and submitted. The court just went on the process.
it's signed and it's been submitted to the court. If that's the Tubbs case you're talking
That
about.
is the only, that is the remaining matter, Mr. Baldwin. Let's call the case.
Just tell them it's
This is 22-199 and 939. Allied Bank versus Daryl Tubbs. I got Miss Popoff here. Let's get her in here and we can get started here.
Right.
Good morning, counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor.
This is 22-199-939. Allied Bank versus Daryl Tubbs. Date and time for pretrial, your appearances.
Good morning, Your Honor. Alexander Popov, PA 4378, appearing on behalf of plaintiff.
Good morning, Your Honor. Nick Balberman, P35262, appearing on behalf of the defendant.
I understand the case has been settled.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Where are we? Where's my paperwork?
I believe we sent out a fax to the court yesterday, I believe.
Okay. So let me make sure I understand this. Counsel for both the plaintiff and the defendant are telling me that the case has been settled and basically we're still looking for paperwork. Is that where we are?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes,
Alderman?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Simple solution. I'll dismiss your matter without prejudice, knowing that the closing documents will be forthcoming. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, nothing further.
All right, let's be safe. Thank you for coming in. We're
Thank
off.
you. Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
just to be clear, so we have a consent judgment that was coming in.
Yeah, I'll just note that on the dismissal.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good deal. All right, let's go here. Turn on the music.
Yeah, it's Andrew Lloyd Webber. We just heard Thomas Edison. The big moment. This is the night of the Phantom of the Opera, the American Theater Orchestra back in town. And the music of the longest running show of the Broadway history. Opened from the West End 1 years earlier. I mean, Broadway did the understand January 26th, 1988, New York City. And has run, still running, Broadway, reached the 10,000 mark way back in 2012. A year later, celebrating the 25th anniversary, with 10,400 performances. The 30th anniversary of Phantom was a few years back, 2018. By the following year, Phantom had been staged over 13,000 times on Broadway. Still been just critical reviews, but mostly positive on the opening night. New York Times Frank Rich wrote, "It may be possible to have a terrible time at Phantom of the Opera, but you'll have to work at it. Only a terminal prig would let the," he wrote prig, P-R-I-G. He said only a terminal prig would let the avalanche of pre-opening publicity poison enjoyment of the show. which usually wants nothing more than to shower the audience with fantasy and fun, and succeeds at any price. Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera music of the night. Today's making. CJ, that would be our CJ program. I mean, there's no muscle. I think that's a middle available for the 2023 spring dance and opera season at the Detroit Opera House. Exciting favorites and new productions, including Swan Lake, Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, Handel's opera masterpiece Xerxes, and the Spanish and flamenco rhythms of Juan's Multitudes. More information available at Detroit Opera. Hi, Linus Felix, Io is up next. We have an exceeding place. We saw a new 5 acre share by just second team. 90.9 Delaware CJ. And